Welcome, my friend. After many years of specialized practices and integrative care with health and life challenges, I overcame. Now I live with boundless energy and creativity because each body is divinely designed to do its own healing when given the right food to slow the effects of aging in the cellular level. Instead of declining, we are regenerating. I call that optimized wellness and maximized living. Welcome to my show, 1 Degree Change. Hello again. I am so excited. Even though it's not an easy topic to talk about, toxic waste and draining the swamp within our landscape, it is something very dear to me to bring awareness to everyone talking about how to eliminate toxic overload. I call it draining the swamp inside our body. And uh, this particular episode is episode number 9. I'm going to talk about what kind of results when our body is invaded or overload with toxins. So let us remind each other, what are toxins anyway? Toxins are foreign invaders that don't belong inside our body. It comes from our environment. It comes from everything we touch. It should be the most beautiful place on earth where we live, where we imagine, where we play, where we have friends, the park, and all that. However, life does not always present itself, has no issues. And some of the problems, you already know it. We have friends and even family members that have passed on because of disease. Well, disease don't come about overnight. In fact, it takes a long time for a disease to show up. Remember, we go to the doctor and he wants to get some lab work and he talks about the variables of your ferritin, your iron balance. Well, it doesn't always talk about toxins, especially in our immune system. And so we're going to talk a little more about it. And I hope I give you and bring to you awareness where it comes from, how it invades our body, and what are some of the things we could do to eliminate them and to protect your organ and your body system, your physiology. That's what I call literally the temple of God. This is our body. And we only have one body, and the brain, the gut, the lungs, the sweat, the dermal system, all requires attention from us, or I call it awareness. We need to know, how does it get to our body? What are the sources? How do we eliminate them? And most importantly, I would say the right question to ask is, what kind of lifestyle that we can apply to consistently eliminate these invaders that don't belong to our body, so we could operate optimally, as I call it in my book, Optimize Wellness and Maximize Your Life, because it can affect our attitude, our place of rest, our sleep, our uh, attitude, our energy. And so let us delve into this topic about the impacts of these toxins. First of all, let's remind each other, how does it get there? Understanding some of the routes that toxin come in by us inhaling, number one, and ingesting, consuming food, absorption through the skin, injection, and we heard a lot about that the last few years, and procedures, medical procedures, and occupational exposures, uh, maternal transfers. Very few times do we think about it when a mom is pregnant with a baby. Um, uh, Also, anytime when we deliberately take in substance, it could be a drug, could be a household supply, and also exposure from the eye area. And so let me talk a little bit about that. Inhalation is airborne pollutions like the film, the dust, and particles in the air that would affect our respiratory system, such as pollens and such as airborne pollutions like factories and 5Gs. So, second one is ingesting. When we ingest means we just consume food, water. You heard about fluorides, and the FDA may be doing something about it. Not that it's all bad, but it's not all good either. Um, Beverages uh, uh, that we can introduce toxins are like even the beverage container. Uh, you heard about sodas. When we ingest even sugar, table sugar, certain sugar is considered a toxic waste product now. And the chemicals that is in the food. So that is ingested through the mouth portal, not just through the inhaling. And then absorption through the skin. When we go to the lake, um, these days is so polluted, so we have to be careful and wash real well. It can compromise our skin condition, including cosmetic, skincare, shampoo, all that uh, is considered environmental contaminations. That's through the skin. Then injection. Injection is like you would never ever thought of. In fact, I had a bee sting. It literally inject its toxin in itself. At the end, it killed it. That's how it tried to defend itself. And we only think of needles, but like a bee sting, a bite, a puncture wound, even venom from animals, insect bites, contaminated needles, as well as medically. So we'll talk about medical procedures, medical uh, injections or vaccination, um, such as chemotherapy, radiation therapy, introducing um, uh, toxic material even through x-rays. And we have to have lead apron just to protect us, other areas, so that it is not exposing our tissue to any of the x-ray damage. And then, of course, surgery is very invasive. It requires anesthesia. Anesthesia itself is not bad, but it is a substance that they put in our body to immobilize us and to be pain-free. That it in itself is a chemical. And a skillful anesthesiologist will make sure much and almost all of the after effects is eliminated. Oh, we're going to have an interview with an anesthesiologist, and that would be very interesting. And then occupational exposures, such as industrial heavy metals, chemical, people that work in a chemical plant, medical research areas, they are exposed to lots and lots of medical chemicals and biohazardous materials. Um, that does include heavy metal. So those are all toxic exposures. And maternal transfer. When a mom a new mom is pregnant from the day the eggs and sperm comes together. There is a pathway, and if the mom isn't careful, or if even previously both parents are ignorant about their lifestyle, whether it's drug, even certain tattoos, the ink in the tattoos has metals in it, and we don't think about it, do we? And it stays in the body, and you don't know where it travels to. So, as far as the maternal transfer is when the fetus, the baby is developing through the placenta, potentially whatever the mama eats and breathe and put on can pass to the baby. It's called a fetus because it doesn't know how to do things, but it's still a baby nonetheless. And I am very cognizant of life within the mom is real. And that's how we come into being. And so whatever the mom take in, it can affect the baby. And of course, um, during the whole term of the pregnancy, the mom needs to take in extra a quality supplement to ensure a healthy birth, healthy baby thereafter. And so there are a lot to consider. Now, before I go any further, I want to remind everybody I came out of three major health disruption that affected my life in such a way that I was almost immobilized. Talk about toxins taking in. And it was only through an accident. And watch this testimony as one of the three. And I'm so grateful I'm alive and totally recovered. I'm thankful to God for the healing and the ability and the capacity to feed myself well, to be restored and continue a journey of health. So watch this. Hi, Dr. Mary Axness here. At age 72, I finally retired. And guess what? I wrote a book. It's called Optimize Wellness and Maximize Life. And you know what? God healed me from three major medical challenges. One of them was a serious brain concussion injury over 10 years ago. And the doctor said there's nothing they can do other than just sit on the porch and rock. That didn't sit well with me at all. So I do what I knew best to do. Eat myself back to health, plus co-labor with God, and did a lot of study and understand how to feed the brain well and recover. Now I can say, order this book. I'm going to have classes over this too. And come along and grow young with me. Retirement is just a new chapter. Okay, I am going to keep going. I hope you enjoy that testimony. Anytime when there's a quality testimony, it shows that there is hope. And I am here to bring hope, as I call myself an ambassador of hope. So how does toxin or chemicals exposure impacts our immune system? It can suppress it. When I say suppression means it reduces your body's ability to mount an attack, to mount an effective defense against any bacteria, and and being susceptible to all sorts of infections. So we have to understand our immune system is innately designed. And when we disrupt it or unknowingly allow these things to come in, it's our job to clean it up because it's our body. And that's our responsibility. And also, inflammation. The impact is lots of inflammation. You show me a body that has no inflammations, that means no accumulative toxin overload or mucus uh, distribution everywhere, such as from the nose, infection, um, ear infection, sore throat, all of that triggers the inflammatory response. And that comes from environmental exposure, a lot of them. Internally, well, medications. And it can disrupt our immune system, even though it's meant to do um, a lot of healing. However, modern day medication sometimes bring on another disease. And if you don't aren't aware of it, just watch the commercials. They introduce so many new drugs every day, new medications. It's coming out faster than we know. And on the bottom of the TV screen, you see, well, it can cause this, it can cause that, and some of them actually can be worse than the original diagnosis. So use your common sense. Ask good questions. What are the side effects? The side effects are what introducing into our physical pathway uh, things that our body are not meant to deal with. And it will compound the way your body wants to heal. I know it's simple enough, but let's use common sense here. So, autoimmunity and is about certain toxins that increase the risk of autoimmune disease, and it causes our immune system to break down and leading to the system to actually attack itself. Now, this is beyond just inflammation, beyond a disease. Is another level of uh, exposure of harmful toxic waste. And let me, I will introduce what are some of the real effects, and then we're going to talk about the how to get rid of some of these things. It does require some responsibility and lifestyle change. That's when I call it 1 degree change. And that's what the name of this show is. So it will also uh, call AI autoimmune disease. It's not the uh, internet discovery of the most convenient tools. However, when the medical notes that we take, when there's an AI is an autoimmune disease, that means the body is actually attacking itself. Remember I just mentioned the T cells? They are killer cells. They are white blood cells that will attack foreign invaders. Autoimmune disease equals the body is eating itself alive. It's no fun. And I'll talk about the different disease that associated with it. And then also oxidative stress is like the body started to age faster. And I call it a rust. When the body organs, joints, um, uh, livers, uh, brain, when they're not functionally optimally, is also a category we call antioxidant defense. When that defense is not working, that means it's like a car is rusted out and nothing seems to work well. And that's called antioxidant defense. And then the immune cell communication, cell to cell communicate, brain cells, uh, uh, the blood cells, the white blood cells, the red blood cells, the heart muscle has cells, they communicate with each other. And when they do that, um, we call it cell to cell communication. And these foreign toxins will disrupt the signaling of these cells. When it's a quality cell, like at birth, when a new baby is born, it has what we call MSC cells, mesenchymal cells. I will talk about a lot about that in the next season about stem cells. It's the most fun and interesting topic. It's not thinking something you can manufacture. It has to come from live birth. And it's the most magnificent, natural, uh, heavenly medicine that I could think of. But we'll go there in a couple more episodes. So now, also, it weakens our defense barrier because our body is designed to build barriers. You heard of me talking about BBB, blood brain barrier. It is in the back, in the lower part of your neck, tied to the back of some of your muscles. It can stop foreign invaders invading the brain. And we want that. But we also want nutrients to be able to get through. So unless you take a high quality of nutritional supplement, high quality mineral, um, it also will not get in. And so those are things that are the impacts to our system. And the last thing I want to talk about is memory. It can impact our memory when, like, developing infants and also elderlies, the immune system actually is the protective system and is so crucial to the body to recognize so that it can respond. And with our white blood cells, our killer cells, will not be disrupted. It will go do its job without being interfered by these toxic overload. And then allergies. A lot of people say, well, I'm allergic to it. I'm allergic to this food, that food. Majority of the time, a true allergy come on when it's a chemical that the body don't recognize and it cannot fight it simply because it's not organic. And our body is not designed to fight metals. It just isn't equipped to do that. Or uh, drugs. I'm talking about recreational drugs, uh, LSD, um, the foreign imported drugs. I'm not even going to mention any of them. Those are actually toxic materials designed to disrupt our body. Cocaine, opiate, alcohol, and be careful even about caffeine. And there's just too much chemicals being placed in the process and the production of coffee. So all these impact our system. And what does it actually look like? It looks like a disease. No joke. And it's no fun. And so let's talk about what kind of conditions and the symptoms that accumulated through these toxins deposited in our body. Remember, breathing in through the baby, through the all the chemicals we use. The most severe one, even though it doesn't sound very big deal, every day is impactful, is fatigue. Oh, I feel so drained. I don't have energy to go do the things I need to do. I'm tired. I just need to lay down. Most people even require 1 or 2 naps throughout the day, and they are very common uh, symptoms. And I can guarantee you there are some toxin exposure there, and it weakens the overall body. Then the next most prevalent one is headaches, chronic headaches. Wake up with a headache. Oh my, that you need to be alert and be aware. What else is in there to cause chronic uh, headaches? Because your brain, your head is very important. Anytime when it's being disrupted, it will signal to tell you. Um, Also, migraine, it will is stress induced when it becomes migraine, and so it's compounded. And I have to say, my mother, who had passed, though she lives still 1 month short of um, her passing, 90-year-old, when she was in her late 40s and 50s, she has so many migraine attack from grand mal migraine, which is very scary for us children. I remember as a child, we would just be shaking watching her having a seizure attack. It was not only no fun, it was very scary. And we would hold each other's hand and didn't know what to do and scream and cry out for an adult to be close by. And then we would call the ambulance, and she looks terrible. It was like, what's happening to our mother? And they could bite their tongue. So we have to put something plastic. And a couple times, somebody even stick their knuckle there, and so that she will not bite herself. Um, Thinking about that is still very distressful for me as a child. I was only 5 or 6 when she started, and throughout, on and off, 2 or 3 times a year. And it's very clear now that as a naturopathic doctor, I can observe stressful lifestyle. Women back there, they are not very expressive, so they stuff themselves. And so it is very important that it does not become chronic migraine, and is often associated with stress compounded by toxin overload in the body. And then skin problem, rash, eczema, acne, and is a inflammation response to the toxin that comes and enter into the body. Then there's joints and muscles, and you talk about pain, cognitive impairment. Those are all the symptoms, weight gain or loss, and one of the more severe one is sleep, insomnia. And so it disturbed our hormonal balance. So I can go on and on, but guys, let's just face it. This is part of life. So on this 1 degree change, I want to bring you to a level of awareness, where it comes from, how it affects you. And next time, we're going to talk about the solutions, a lifestyle adjustment. And I will see you soon. Before that, let's do our meditation. Thank you, Father, that we get to watch TV, that we can poop, pee, eat, sleep, sweat, and sleep. And I thank you for being a good God to take care and protect us. We've been protected the last 24 hours. The sirens don't affect us. And I'm thankful that you can come on the show. I will see you next time, and God bless you.